Senator from Iowa.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Thursday, I sounded the alarm as the lapse in government funding endangered food assistance for 42 million Americans rapidly approached. That was November 1st, the approach date. I called on Senator Schumer to end the partisanship and vote for a clean extension of government funding. 45 Democrats have opposed clean extension of funding 13 times. Republicans have voted for it 13 times. The Trump administration is putting a temporary Band-Aid on the program, tapping into emergency funds that will cover half a month of food stamps. Meanwhile, I've got Iowans calling my office, asking me where they can get food for their families. This is a sad commentary on the politics of a nation and a nation of abundance. I always say, you're only 9 meals away from a revolution. Just think, if you're a family, you got children, 3 days without any food, what action you might take if you can't properly feed them. We've seen those sorts of revolutions in other states or in other countries. So let's feed the American people with the bipartisan cooperation they deserve, and the bipartisan cooperation that has always been a part of the food stamp program. Because over decades ago, 2 famous senators, Dole and McGovern, in a bipartisan fashion, came up with the idea that why should we have people that are nutrition deficient in the United States when the federal government has warehouses full of plenty of food. So that's the basis for the food stamp program. We should continue that bipartisan cooperation. I hope the Democrats will wake up and give families a permanent solution to the government programs they rely on. Now, Mr. President, if I may continue, I want to speak about a couple judges that'll be before us this week. We'll be voting on a pair of highly qualified circuit court nominations. Despite the ongoing Democrat government shutdown, the Senate Judiciary Committee remains hard at work. We're continuing to hold hearings. We're continuing to advance strong judicial nominees like the 2 that I'm about to alert my colleagues to. The first is Joshua Dunlap for the U.S. Court of Appeals for the First Circuit. The second is Eric Tung for the U.S. Court of Appeals, Ninth Circuit. Both will make fantastic circuit judges, and I urge my colleagues to vote for them. As Maine Senator Collins detailed last week, Mr. Dunlap graduated first in his class from the University of Notre Dame Law School and then served as a clerk on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit. Since then, he's earned a stellar reputation as an appellate litigator throughout his decade-and-a-half tenure in the private practice of law. Mr. Dunlap noted during his confirmation hearing that, quote, Mainers, meaning residents of the state of Maine, I'll start that quote over again, Mainers are famously independent, end of quote. I'm confident that we can expect no less from him as a fair and impartial judge. Indeed, Mr. Dunlap's career demonstrates that he is a thoughtful and sharp lawyer committed to the rule of law, and is, in his own words, he believes, quote, the law should be available to all and applied fairly to every litigant, end of quote. For these reasons, he's earned widespread support, including from his law school, his co-clerks, and his law firm colleagues. I'm confident that Mr. Dunlap will make an outstanding judge on the First Circuit. I also trust he'll take great pride in serving his state and our nation. President Trump and Senator Collins made an outstanding choice in Mr. Dunlap. Eric Tung is another great selection. He completed his undergraduate degree at Yale and graduated with high honors at the University of Chicago School of Law. He clerked for Justice Scalia on the U.S. Supreme Court, and he also clerked for Justice Gorsuch, both during his tenure on the 10th Circuit and upon Justice Gorsuch's elevation to the U.S. Supreme Court. Mr. Tung was a Bristow Fellow in the Justice Department's Office of Solicitor General, where he worked on numerous cases before the nation's highest court. During President Trump's first administration, he also worked as an assistant U.S. attorney in the Central District of California. As a federal prosecutor, Mr. Tung handled a broad array of criminal matters, including firearm offenses, drug trafficking, and fraud. In recent years, Mr. Tung has focused on civil litigation and appeals in private practice. He was appointed by the Chief Justice of the California Supreme Court to serve as the sole civil appellate practitioner on the Appellate Indigent Defense Oversight Advisory Committee. In every facet, Mr. Tung has been an outstanding appellate lawyer. Based on his stellar credentials and his stellar reputation, it's no surprise that his nomination is supported by his law firm colleagues and the various co-clerks that he's worked with at the 10th Circuit and the U.S. Supreme Court. Like Mr. Dunlap, I believe Mr. Tung will make a phenomenal judge and serve this nation honorably and with distinction. So, I encourage my colleagues to support both of these fine circuit court nominees. I yield the floor. I suggest the absence of a quorum.
Without objection.